felt was put forward for this year. Well, that's not as much as they wanted, or as they need, I should say. It's fine for that, but. Intent the council did. So there's those negotiations. Oh.
You're not as loud as me, we totally can't hear you. We're just nodding to be nice.
Oh, thank you. But anyway, that was just my whole point with that is just, I believe that when the council voted for that 9,000, which is basically just repeating what the interlocal agreement was for the previous year on value, was that we, during negotiations, we understand that, but I feel that was the intent of the council previously. Does that make sense? Still not able to hear me?
Kind of
No?
like this. Sorry, you're just soft spoken. What can I say? You're a gentle man, Tommy.
I'm a gentle.
I think I followed you, Tommy.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure of all your element of what you just said, but I think you were simple. So did I understand you to say you were just trying to reemphasize or trying to emphasize the intent of this council to work with the chamber, everything?
And the type of, my point was that we had established that we were willing, we thought it was appropriate on funding wise to stay at that same level. If they show that they're not needing to be at that same level for this year, and not needing this year to have a budget outside of that, knowing that it's going to step back, that was all I was just saying.
So I'm a little unclear, Mr. Duncan. I don't have any issue with anything you said. I'm just a little unclear. A proposal was brought to us last month for a dollar amount, and concerns were expressed about the dollar amount, so we changed the dollar amount upward. And so, and when you say renegotiate, do you mean renegotiate, to discuss again the proposal that came to us a month ago? So we may see that or something different?
You could.
I understand the reason, but.
Right, you could. The way we prefer that to work, Kevin and I, Gayla and Jeanette will work out the terms of the agreement. It'll be presented to you guys for a vote, and then I will take it back to our board for a vote.
But
so
you did that before, though. You did that before, though, right? That's
No.
what happened a month ago?
No, I'm
that
sorry.
didn't happen.
I'm sorry. No, our board did not have a chance to look at that.
Before the July 1st.
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's, you know, we were waiting for your vote to come back to us to vote, which is in essence what we've done.
Right.
And our board has never wavered on how this should work, nor that we value your partnership. We want a quality partnership. Kevin and Jeanette have been wonderful partners for us. And so, you know, we understand times change. And as, you know, part of what we discussed last month, and Kevin has discussed with you all, taking the event so that we can focus on the businesses here. You know, God forbid we have another pandemic. We'd like to help the businesses weather that a little bit better. Some seminars, and maybe if they do PPP again, other PPP seminars. So
Good.
being able to focus on what we're good at.
That's good. I think Tommy's getting ready to make a motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just make a motion to approve Kevin and Jeanette, or city staff, to negotiate with Newcastle City Chamber of Commerce to come up with a new local agreement that we can all agree on.
Is your mic on? Yep, it is, okay.
It is on.
All right. A motion, do I have a second?
I second.
A motion second to direct the city manager and assistant city manager to enter negotiations with the Newcastle Chamber of Commerce.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Carl?
Item number 7. Planning Commission recommendations. Item number 7A. Public hearing, discussion and possible action on Planning Commission recommendation to approve application for use permitted on review for a special use permit for medical marijuana dispensary for LPH property. Sean Hugo, owner. Tony and Garrett Hall, proposed tenants, located at Lot 4, Block 1, Willow Springs, 4th Edition. Property location 2816 Northwest 32nd Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. UPOR 2021-002. Continue by Planning Commission to July 26, 2021 meeting. Make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance. Well, they thank the commission to do it, so I want to. Yeah. Is there a second?
Yeah, Tommy.
No.
Did you not hear him?
We
I heard
Oh,
that. I heard that.
There we go, gotcha.
How did you not hear that one?
Marcy White.
Yes.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Tommy Clay.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Carl Ness.
Yes. Item number 7B, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve application for use permitted on review for a vet clinic boarding kennel with outside runs for LPI Investments, LLC, Jessica Bergen Elliott, located in the west half of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, section 32, township 10 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property location 2941 Northwest 32nd Street, UPOR number 2021-005.
Good evening. Good evening, I guess it's not working. Good evening, council members.
It's not plugged in, that'd probably be a reason.
Oh, it's on my drive.
That's okay, I'm loud enough, I think.
Well, but it's for the,
If it's, okay.
It's not
You
plugged
got
in.
it? Yeah. Is that better? Is that better?
No.
Nope, not better. Hello?
it's not me.
It's not Tommy, yeah.
I speak loudly, I promise.
There we go, there we go.
I mean, you carry weight with it, even though it's not loud.
Whoa.
No, I meant authority. Oh, no.
Oh,
That's not what I meant.
wow.
I meant authority. Authority.
Should we go to?
I know, complaints. Assistant city manager.
I was
job.
city attorney.
Hello. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome.
I can hear Tommy now.
Hey, really loud.
I also DJ on Saturday night.
Good evening, council members. Yes, item B, LTI Investments, Jessica Bergen Elliott is requesting a UPOR for a vet and a kennel with outside runs at 2941 Northwest 32nd Street. It is a vet clinic with a kennel boarding with outside runs. We'll utilize only the existing buildings. There'll be interior model building permits done for the interior models. Landscaping and parking lot will be brought into conformance with existing ordinances. The existing outside fenced area, which is, if you can look at my cursor here, this area here will be utilized for the outside run. There are a couple items that Planning Commission recommended to be stipulations put in as part of this special use, which would be the operating hours from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. for the outside run. Staff supervision required when more than one dog is in an outside run area. There'll be 12 dogs maximum for overnight boarding. Planning Commission did recommend approval 5-0. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is present for any questions as well.
Are they using all, is that 4 buildings?
So this building here is now, this shed was removed.
Oh, okay.
It was demoed.
Uh-huh.
These buildings here will be utilized for the kennel and the vet. This will be the outside run area. It is an existing fence.
Yeah.
And I stated if she wants to replace the existing fence, it would be an opaque fence, cedar fence type, so you couldn't see through it. This building right here, the metal building on the corner, right now is not part of that request. Eventually, if she would like to use that, she will have to bring that building up to code as far as building permit and the exterior.
So it's just gonna be vacant, still, that work?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
But it'll be, it's part of your ownership, you're just not using it?
Yes, not using it right now. It'll be included in the UPOR, but right now it's not being utilized.
Okay.
And she will be bringing water, city water to the site, and it's on existing septic.
How far from residents, and this is, I know this was one UPR before, it was zoned commercial.
It is CC,
Is it?
CC,
Back to
uh-huh.
CC.
CC1.
Any neighboring complaints at all during planning commission? Just the
well,
noise?
One neighbor did show up and ask those questions, and their comments were satisfied through those stipulations.
Okay.
Council, questions for the applicant?
Yes, go ahead.
On that issue, Tommy, the north side of that property is a steep bank, and I think that will be a pretty major containment issue of noise, and then we did restrict it to the number and with supervision if they're not dog there. So in the outside run, and the inside is still that number because that's how many she's facilitating at this time. And if it goes up, they'll come back for an increase. The other thing I might just throw out is on the Council Road fencing. We specifically put in our motion that existing fencing is sufficient. And it's not, well, it wouldn't technically meet site approval at this time, partially due to its age. But for now, Carl Evans lives up north there, and he said he drives by it all the time, and it should be sufficient for the present time, and if it's replaced, it would be a site-proof fence, and that's how the motion was made.
Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? All right. Any other questions or comments from council? Entertain a motion.
I make the motion to approve use permit on review, basically 7B.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval item number 7B.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Gene Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7C, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve an application for rezoning property from A agriculture E1 suburban estate residential for Joshua and Cicely Wooten, located to the west half, the east half, the southwest, the southeast, the southeast of section 9, township 9 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption ordinance number 885, property address 1721 Northwest 17th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2021-006.
Yeah. This says 17.
It does, there was a typo, I was gonna
Okay.
let you know. Good evening,
Say.
council members, Janae Greenlee again.
I live
It
right
was-
there, I was like, wait.
It was advertised as 16th, so
Okay.
that 17th Street was just a typo. So it was properly advertised.
I told them
and-
I wasn't gonna let them legally move, so this is another, I didn't want them out in my
Planning.
neighborhood, they're so sweet.
Yeah, the planning commission
Okay, good.
agenda shows that, and
Perfect.
the advertisement also shows that. So as you stated, a rezoning from ag to E1 at 1721 Northwest 16th Street. The applicant had purchased a 2.5 acre tract that was zoned agriculture. An investment company had filed a warranty deed with the county without doing an approved lot split deed approval from Newcastle. So when they came in for a building permit for a shop, we recognized that it was zoned A and it did not contain the correct lot area, which a minimum is 5 acres is required. So we directed them to do a rezoning from ag to E1, which would bring their lot into conformance with the zoning regulations for the lot area. Staff did recommend approval, and planning commission recommended approval 5-0. Happy to answer any questions. And the applicant is present.
So they're just showing people zoning.
Yeah.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? All right, any additional comments or questions from council? None, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved, agenda item,
Seven.
7C.
Motion, do I have a second? Motion second for approval of item number 7C.
Yeah. Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Gene Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7D, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 885.
Motion approved, agenda item 7B, emergency clause ordinance 885.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7D.
Gene Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7E, public hearing, discussion of possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve an application for rezoning property from Hay Agriculture to E1 suburban estate residential for Joshua and Kayla Swearengin, located in the east half, the southwest, the southeast of the southeast Section 9, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption of ordinance number 886, property address 1701 North of 17th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2021-007.
Good evening, council members. This is basically exactly the same. It's a mirror of the exact same request. It's a 2.5 acre tract. It was warranty deed filed with the county, not coming to the city for the lot split, coming in for a building permit. Actually, I think the neighbors, they collaborated and they found out, oh, this is not approved, and so they were directed to come visit us, and we directed them to rezone to E1, so to bring their lot into conformance with zoning. Planning Commission did recommend approval 5-0.
Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item?
One question, is this
16th?
This is also
Yes, it's
16.
also
Yeah, this
This
can't be
is-
17th.
No, this is the same thing.
But it can't be 17th Street though. I copied and pasted from the
Yeah, so it's also 16
It is 16th,
Okay.
it's not 17th. That was a typo
on
in,
both elements.
that's
Yes.
correct, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I did not point that out
That's
first.
okay, I was like.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the first person I
Yep,
never
it is
did
16th.
She was sure she's getting a neighbor.
that. I know, I was like, I don't know this guy.
Entertained motion.
And motion to approve agenda item 7E.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second for approval of agenda item number 7E.
R.C. White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Jim Reed?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7F, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 886.
Motion to approve emergency clause ordinance 886, 7F.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7F.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Jim Reed?
Yes.
R.C. White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7G, public hearing, discussion of possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve an application for rezoning property from PUD plan unit development to amend the PUD for Northeast 19th Place duplexes for Pittsburgh LLC, Eastside 3 LLC, Barrett Holdings, Daniel and Jamie Brown, Dustin and Sheila Helens, located in the northwest quarter of Section 11, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, and for adoption ordinance number 887, property location northwest quarter of Section 11, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R 2021-008.
Good evening, council members. Again, this is a PUD amendment for the Northeast 19th Place duplexes. It is to remove the gated entry requirement from the PUD only. That's the only thing that changes this PUD, is to remove the gated entry that was proposed here at the entrance. What happened is the subdivision was laid out in driveways. The gate does not fit with the driveway layout. Would not allow people to basically enter into their driveway without having to circle around. So we directed them to remove that requirement from the PUD. That is the only thing that this does. At Planning Commission, they did recommend 5-0, and based upon the concern was that all the owners, which all the owners of this development did apply and submitted the application, but we have letters and statements from them through an email, and I have a copy if you'd like to see it, of their signed consent to remove that gate requirement. Planning Commission, like I said, did recommend 5-0. The applicant's representative is here if you have any questions.
Sounds pretty straightforward. Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? All right, any comments or questions from council?
So I'm just trying to get acclimated to, these are the structures closest to Main Street.
No,
No.
it's
No.
one back, these are
One back.
right here.
These are
and then it's
duplexes,
these.
and those others are multiplex.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. Can't,
It's-
And
it's
I
here,
did
right
not
here.
remember, I did not remember that part of it being a gated anyway, so.
is it Comus Drive? Comus? Is that how you say that? Is that the street?
No, it's
Bartlett.
Bartlett, it's Bartlett Drive. It's right,
Oh, I see it, I see it, I
yeah,
see it.
right
Okay,
here.
sorry.
Are the others that gates on?
Mm,
And this is Comus Drive. It's the one
oh,
to the west.
I was gonna say.
to the
second one
west
is Coleman.
of it.
Yeah, it's,
I
Has
but
the
it's
split?
not, in
I had-
between the,
It's not in,
the highway and that is that multifamily.
Yeah.
right, and then there's
tract that you
commercial
decide.
in front of it.
It's got the split little entrance there.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So normally on gated community, the street is not maintained by the city. And so does that status remain the same then?
That,
Obviously,
it's a private drive.
private drive.
Mhm.
And so this is a major concern for me, but it does come up from time to time. Those streets that are not well marked, later on, citizens start to, they forget that agreement, and they come to the city and ask for repairs and complain about, not everyone, but sometimes you get a complaint about the condition of the street, so I just wonder if I'm not asking for this, I just wonder if there's any marking that designates that as a private street.
Like signage.
Our subdivision regs, I believe, require a sign indicating that it's a public street.
I was thinking it did, so.
Now, I don't know that that's been done like it should be, but that is a requirement. I'm not
As far as the street sign, it's,
Yeah.
yes, that it looks different or it notates that it's a private
Yeah,
drive.
There should be a signage, I believe our subdivision reg calls out the signage indicating it's a private street.
Private street.
So when the gate's there, it's gonna be obvious. If the gate's not there, it may not be so obvious. So I would like to suggest
Investigate on.
that that the city consider requiring signage of some sort that
Because I think we already do. I just don't think we have been following it correctly.
I think Mr. Harness has a comment on that.
I'll throw out 2 cents on that, is there is a subdivision reg that requires private streets to be placarded or posted that they are a private maintained, a private road, not public maintained. And I'm like, Carl, I haven't been up there and I can't tell you it's there, but we can have our inspectors go out and make sure it's there. And it should be posted while they're selling them, for sure.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
And
yeah.
I would further note, when this FUD was approved and that gate was proposed, it was a tight gate situation, and the 2 top northmost lots had a tight turnaround circle to get back in their drive. And
Yeah.
it's more practical to
Yeah,
remove
yeah.
that,
Sure.
so we recommend it.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, you're fine.
Aren't we, I know this budget's already been proposed and that's already approved as a private drive, but we're heavily steering away from private drives in neighborhoods anymore, right?
I'm not a big fan of them because of the things that Councilman Reed has brought up. However, the applicant can legally request those. And if they meet the requirements of subdivision regulations, that's not a reason to deny it. However, it's not the best of situations because it has been brought up and, we often see even on social media, people that don't even live within our city limits, that are on private streets wanting something done with those. And so a lot of times people don't pay that much attention if they buy a home when the addition's new and the roads are nice. And oftentimes they aren't so nice years later. I'm not saying anything about this addition at all, but.
May I make a comment? I think one way to maybe help this in the future is that when the developer has to order, they have to order their street signs for the city to install them. And so at that time, if we came up with something that would either allow them to say, this is a private drive underneath or designated private, maintained by the HOA, something at that time when they order those street signs, that might be a time when I can direct them to
Yeah.
make sure that if it is private, that it's noted. Otherwise, it would just be public and not noted.
And food for thought is, so the signs should be in reverse order of our typical street signs. Instead of white on blue, go blue on white for private streets.
Oh, look at you. Good idea.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's a
So
good
just a
idea.
different denotation on the
To
color
be
scheme.
considered, there may be some
Okay.
unintended consequences, but I've always felt like if we did that and anyone's called out there, they could say ma'am or sir, that helps us to know. That way you doesn't have to have a different sign every time, but
Good visual, too.
that's just a suggestion.
Thank you.
I actually think the private signs had went to green with white,
That'd be fine.
is what I have talked
Yeah.
to the street superintendent.
Anything to designate it, but I was looking for a way to not, so it wouldn't remarkably stand out as
I got,
significantly different, but whatever city decides is fine.
yeah, I'll work with
Yeah.
our assistant and manager and our street superintendent on that moving forward.
I can support that. Thank you.
I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion for approval.
Second?
Have a motion second for approval of item number 7G.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7H, discussion and possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 887.
Motion approved 7H.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7H.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 7I, discussion and possible action on recommendation for approval of final plat of Pedris.
So this is the Pedris final plat, located southwest 16th Street, west of Main Street. It is zoned a PUD for a gated large estate development with executive style homes, 31 single-family lots and a common area, 21.99 acres. The development's HOA will entrust the ARB to review all building plan sets. We will require the ARB approval prior to a building permit being issued by the city. All improvement plans for paving, drainage, and water have been submitted, and drainage calculations that are approved by the city of Newcastle engineer. At Planning Commission, they made a couple recommendations on the drainage and on that easement for the common area. That has all been resolved, and I do have an email, and Mr. Sullivan is here as well, to that he has accepted and approves those calculations. This is the final plat. And the applicant has a brief presentation.
None of that stuff.
Pardon? There it is, okay.
Good evening, Chairman Nell and City Council members. Good to see you again. I just wanted to take you through real quick, just to refresh your memory as to what the exciting things we're doing here with this development. But this is what the development's going to look like when you pull in on the roundabout. Even the gates are unique. That when they open, they'll actually, because they're slatted, they'll actually look different and have a different look as they open. I wanted to just real quickly, Janae's, at any rate, that little arrow shows we're only about a mile from City Hall, where we're at here, so it's, look, I figured that out myself. There we go. At any rate, so it's only about a mile. Again, that's just showing the lot layouts again. This is the 40-foot setback. We went back a little bit further to give it an estate feel. This is the entry with the gates. This is the type of southwest desert plantings that we're going to do, kind of create a kind of a unique feel when you pull in. The big 10-foot walls are going to hug you as you pull in, remind you you're coming home to a very special place. That's kind of another picture of how to look at twilight during the daytime. And that's the pedestal that'll have the entry system on it. It's the intention to have it, it'll have video surveillance as well once it gets going. So I just wanted to remind you what the development looks like. Again, my name is Kurt Dennis. I'm a 30-year-plus resident of this wonderful community, so I'm super excited to be able to do something in the community that I live in. And so I'm here to answer any questions you got, and hopefully you like what we're doing.
Remind me your name, I know you said it.
Kurt Dennis.
Spell your last name.
DINNES.
Okay. I actually had somebody asking about that neighborhood today, and I could not remember your name for the life of me, so.
That's great. Hopefully it was really positive.
No, it said builder, so yeah, it was. But I was like,
I like
oh,
that.
I can see his face, but I can't remember his name, so, thank you.
Oh, well, the name of the company is Pedras Holdings. Somebody in the city council asked me a great question last time, said, why did you name it Pedras? And so I explained it, and I'll try it again. It's pretty simple. I thought Pedras was Spanish for rocks, but come to find out it's Portuguese. But that's okay. I just like, but they make a really fine wine in Napa called Pedras. And I just thought, wow, love the wine, love Southwest kind of a look, and we don't really have anything like that here in Newcastle, this kind of a look, and I thought it'd be really neat to do that, so that's why I named it Pedras.
Are you gonna be building any homes in there, Kurt?
I'm actually not gonna be building any homes in there, but a company that I owned and just sold and semi-retired a few years ago it will be building homes in there, Sun Custom Homes, and there'll be other approved builders. It's my intention, and again, I learned this from a sharp guy in this room right here, and no builders in there will be building unless they're a member of a local HBA and are approved and are building the kind of homes that I think are warranted for that type of development.
I've been in a lot of homes you've built over the years, and they've all been outstanding. So.
Well, thank you. I'm honored you said that. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Kurt.
Okay.
Any comments from citizens on this agenda item? Comments or questions from council?
I make a motion that we approve item 7I, final plat of Pedras.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of item number 7I.
Marcy White,
Yes.
Carl Nell,
Yes.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Item number 7J, discussion of possible action on recommendation for approval of preliminary plat of Meadow Creek.
I'm staying just from discussion and voting. Do I need to leave the room or just stay?
You will need to leave the room
Okay.
when vote happens,
Okay,
if you don't want your vote to be counted as a no,
okay,
if you abstain.
thank you.
Meadow Creek revised preliminary plat, had to bring back a revised preliminary plat because the section 3 for the final plat did not match the approved preliminary plat, so they're bringing that back. It is zoned RF1. The remainder of this preliminary plat is for 101 single-family lots. It is revised to reflect Planning Commission recommendation on Note 4 to add future and lot frontages are now correct. The note was regarding the future connections to possibly 16th to the south here. But the road is stubbed out on both ends, so it has possible future connections in the future for future development. Planning Commission did recommend approval 5-0, and they made the revisions required on the preliminary plat by Planning Commission. I'm happy to answer any questions. And the applicant's representative is here as well.
What would that bring the new count of homes in that overall addition? Do you know that? Or?
Do you remember what the first
I do
section
not
is?
remember.
So they've done section 1 and 2. And this preliminary plat is only, this revised preliminary plat is only for this section, which would be probably 3 and 4, possibly. I'm not sure if they're gonna do another phase is beyond that.
Right.
But this is the remainder of their ownership here. So I'm sorry, sir, I don't know the total count for the,
It looks like,
Keystone Second.
is it roughly right
Probably
to say
about
it
similar.
about doubles it?
yeah, it's probably about similar.
I've had some people questioning some of the drainage in the first part. They had some issues, and I'm curious if we've gotten some of the same, maybe possibly some of the same drainage issues coming with the second, or I guess this next phase that you got coming in.
Chris Anderson with SMC Consulting Engineers. The very first phase was actually done by someone else, so I can't talk to those. And then when we came back in with the second phase that's been recently constructed, we did try to take care of some of those issues, especially there along that road to the north, where there was a lot of drainage headed on those people's property. Anyway, but yeah, the layout itself is pretty much the same as the original preliminary plat. I think the last time it was approved was in 2014. So you were asking about lot count. This really isn't changing the overall lot count from that original preliminary plat, and the drainage pattern, the detention ponds that we've got shown on there is what was shown on the original preliminary plat.
I'll be honest with you, I'm really worried about the drainage on any more of our subdivisions that we've had. We've had some issues prior, and I hate to say that you're caught on the new side of this.
Yeah, on the phase that we did, you can kind of see it on that existing section on the north side. We actually, I say we, the developer who's here, actually purchased property over there to build a large detention pond.
Correct.
So a lot of stuff that was done in the second phase and part of the first phase we're picking up is going to that. There's an existing pond back in the southeast corner that was put in preliminarily with the first phase. When we get over into that area, we will be expanding that pond just a little bit and cleaning that up and making that work. And then there's a couple of smaller ponds on the north side just south of the road. So we have at least 3 more detention ponds coming in to take care of the drainage.
And Chris, on the issue with section 2 on the north side, those lots ended up being sloped the wrong direction, if I'm not incorrect.
I had not heard that.
And we've got those lots are sloping to the private road on the north side there, and I think that's the drainage issue Councilman Fullerton is talking about. There's no collection point along the north side of those lots to channel it to the drainage structures that you're referring to. And so I think that's the concern that you may be addressing. Am I speaking out of turn, Mike?
No, you're absolutely right on track.
I think that's the concern, to ensure, they were designed to drain to the south, and they ended up draining to the north. On that private roadway.
In the grading plans that we did, it was all the natural ground was going to the north, and we just maintained that. There was originally a small little bar ditch on the south side of that dirt road, that gravel road. There was a pipe that had been silted in that we found when we were working on section 2. We ended up constructing a field inlet there and a larger pipe connecting to our system going to the pond. Now that ditch may have silted in. Maybe that needs to be graded back out, but all along that whole side has been draining to the north.
I'm sure we'll get to visit some more about that.
Yeah.
I know it's not catching the runoff, and it's for several years now has been flooding that private road, because I hear about it on a very regular basis. And I just request that you guys take another look at that and try to get some relief to that.
Okay.
If you could possibly. For this phase, hopefully we won't have that issue.
We'll definitely take a look at that.
I'll agree with the mayor.
All right. Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? Any other council member comments or concerns?
Is Kenny looking at this, looking at all this stuff?
Yeah, we have looked at it, and Carl, I remember section 2, and there was a small area that was scheduled to go to the north. I'm gonna relook at that drainage report, but typically what we make them do is, if you've got a piece of property and there's runoff going 3 different directions, we make them not increase flow in any of those 3 directions. It's not a net sum. It's a any direction that you're discharging to, you cannot increase it. And that subdivision got built, section 2 got built, so they showed on paper that they were not gonna increase flow. Now, like you say, I didn't get to see it from the plans until all of a sudden there was a problem out there, and there really isn't much of a ditch along that private road. Now then, in light of some of the drainage problems that we have encountered over the last couple of months around town, I fully expect we could have some builders that filled in some ditches when they were doing their dirt work.
Or silted in.
Or silted in with, you know, I mean, they put the silt fence up to prevent that, but no one ever seems like they ever maintain it after a good rain event. So, I'll look and double check, what phase 2 was supposed to do, but,
Sure.
yeah, I'm glad you said something about the ditch and some of the other things. It's probably something we need to look into.
Whose responsibility is it to maintain that ditch, that make sure it's open and the road doesn't become a ditch?
It's not, there's not a city easement there, so it can't be the city.
When it's still set though, in the contractor is responsible.
In my
The
mind,
developer?
it should have been the developer or the builder to maintain it for a year afterwards.
Well, again, I will say, when we first started this, the existing pipe under the road was already silted in and buried. I saw the very top of the outlet structure, or the inlet structure on the south side, was able to kind of see that was there, but it had already it just been, I think it was a farm field at one time, could have been just silt washing off of the farm field too. It silted in over years.
Okay.
I'll speak just for a second. I'm Steve Shaw, I'm one of the owners of the subdivision. And I've been out there on a dozer and grader and different things. And I offered to put a bar ditch on the north side of that road. And Galen on Shores owned that then, and Galen didn't want that because it makes the road a little narrower. I put a concrete junction box going to that pond for the water to run down there. I offered. He said no. Matter of fact, he had to block off one section of that junction box because it just make the road narrower. I can't cut a ditch on people's lots that have bought lots. I had to put it behind the lot line. And I offered to do that, and I was told no. The other owners, Carl Lee down there, I went and did some work on Carl Lee's place. I've tried to be a very, very nice neighbor. I really have. But the rules changed somehow. But I offered to do that. I certainly did. So Galen sold it now. The other gentleman has bought it, nice guy. But I think some of the home builders did regrade their lots, those guys that box blade tractors, and I'm sure they might have, and we'll be sure that we talk to them about not letting that happen again. But once the grass gets taken on all the lots and stuff, there shouldn't be as much, there's some runoff and some silt. But once the grass is all sodded and they get everything done, it should be much better as far as any silt going off that road. But I did offer to put a little bar ditch down there on the side of that road to help clean it up. But like I said, I was told no, we didn't want that. So I did exactly as the gentleman asked me to do. You know, we want to be good neighbors. We want to have a nice development. We think our lots and houses we're building there are nice, but, you know, that's not all on us, because I did offer to take care of it. Have any questions I can answer for you?
Well, the question that leaves me is, how can a council such as ours put things in place to prevent those before they become the problem like this? And I'm not asking you for an answer to it at this time, but I'm just saying.
It's a private road easement,
But my point is, regardless of those situations, we approve these developments and we approve these plans ahead of time based on some confidence that we will not infringe upon anyone, and then these things later on, they do happen. We have a very large development here next to us, and we were assured that all the engineering would be done right and no water would flow. And there's some concerns that some problems have happened. So I'm not addressing you right now, I'm addressing us as a council. I seek to become a city where we can figure out how to do some error proofing ahead of time, to know that when we approve something based on the commitments made, that we can avoid the error actually happening later on. I don't know what that's gonna be, but maybe we're getting to be a large enough city where we can make the additional investments to be sure that when we approve it, we don't have to go back to neighbors 8 months from now with egg on our face because they said, you promised that this wouldn't happen. So,
Absolutely. And in all reality, if you all driven by there, we built that north side up about 2.5, 3 feet. And Ted Singer lived in the corner house there. Ted told me the water that went across him diminished 70% when we built that subdivision because it's all built up and the water goes down the street now. What little bit of water that is making everybody, I guess, upset just comes off the back of a few lots. All the water that came off that field, now the vast majority of it goes down the street. So it's just a little conflict, I guess I'd say.
Well, is the drainage structure stopping up? Is that one of the major issues here? Is
There's just not much of a ditch to carry the water.
But somewhere it gets across that road, though.
Yes, no, there's a big concrete drainage structure, goes
And
across
is
the
it
road.
silted up?
I don't know, I'll go by and look tomorrow. I haven't been out to look today, but I'll go by and look tomorrow.
Okay, because I mean, I understand silt up and I understand
And
drainage, but I also understand that if the drainage structure is silted up and it's backing up the ditches, well, a little ditch there is there, it ain't gonna carry the water.
And I think Kenny's probably right. I think maybe a home builder might have, spinning their tractor, may have put a little dirt in that ditch. We'll make sure they clean that back out. But
Okay.
it's not a very big ditch.
I understand, I've seen some deep-bottom ditches before.
Any other questions I can?
I will say one step that planning has now put into place that will hopefully alleviate some of this in the future is pad site inspection. Before the builder actually begins to dig foundations, footings, to make sure that the correct slope is on that pad site, that it is flowing the direction that's according to plan. And I think Kenny is involved in that as well. So there's a little more grasp and grip on these things that are taking place before they happen.
excellent,
So,
excellent, thanks.
If I can just, thank you, Sarah, just to add to that, like Kevin just explained. So we're gonna start doing, and we've already done, pre-construction meetings. When the final plat's approved and they get their paperwork and it's signed from, ODQ and they're ready to start their improvements, we're gonna have pre-construction meetings before any improvements start taking place on site with the developer and their contractors to make sure they all know where the roads are supposed to be cut, the proper slopes, that everybody has the approved ODQ plans, that they have the approved set of plans that they're working off of, and then continue throughout that process. We only have 2 inspectors and 1 engineer, and we're putting these steps in place to assure in the future that we are all on the same page from A to Z throughout the whole development.
Yeah, if we're gonna approve plats, we've gotta have the inspectors that we need and the engineers that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to hear from you all that, hey, we don't quite have enough to do this right. I don't think that's the case. But if it is, I'd rather know that than to make promises to our existing neighbors. And then, because they have a way of remembering our first and last names and middle initials.
We are putting these measures in place to take care of these issues that we're having.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll reiterate a little bit of what Gene's saying. I think we've all get the phone calls, or we've all sit there, and I know developments, commercial properties and stuff that have came through, and neighbors are just really, they already have drainage issues. And over the time, most of the time we've told them that doing this, that it will actually improve your drainage issues that you currently have because of the means and methods. And it's very disheartening when you get some of these neighborhoods, it's not, and I know we've had some crazy rain this last couple of months, but it's not just been the last couple of months we've had these issues. So we do have to find a way, because we're approving stuff saying that this is gonna happen. I mean, I also realize that by the time we figure it out, or it becomes a problem, there's 20, 30, 40, maybe more houses that are built. So how do you rectify the situation? then that's done, but it's not an astronomical expense, so there has to be a very solid way.
I'm encouraged to hear the commitments being made. I think they're much needed, and let's continue to make progress on that.
All right. Any public comment concerning this agenda item? All right. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion for approval of a preliminary plat for Meadow Creek.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7J.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White absent, Carl Nell.
Yes.
Before we move on real quick, Janae, would you like to take a second to introduce our new planner in your department?
Very pleased to introduce to you Mr. Kevin Hagerberg. He, today is his first day. He is our new Development Services Coordinator, and he's going to fulfill the role of really helping out with this process a lot. From the beginning, preliminary plat stage, to the final plat stage throughout the entire development, as well as building permit review and zoning and lot split deed approvals and the many things that we get to do in our department. So happy to introduce our new planner, our new
Kevin, welcome to
Development Services
Newcastle.
Coordinator.
Thank you, pleasure to be here, appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, item number 8, discussion of possible action on OMAG notice for election by the city to apply or not apply escrowed funds to the 2021-22 workers' compensation policy premium. In the past, we've chosen to apply those to the
That's
premium.
correct, yes.
And I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second to apply to the premium, the escrowed funds. Tom?
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 9, discussion of possible action on approval of fiscal year 2021-22 street and road improvement program.
So basically, in June, the funding for these projects was approved through the budgeting process that the council looked at. However, during that time in June, we did not have these road projects on paper as of yet to bring to council. So I want to bring these back to you now, let you look at those, and if there's changes that you feel need to be made or something you would like to see that is not on this list of projects, we can certainly incorporate that and make that happen hopefully here over the next fiscal year. A lot of these are chip seal projects. Those chip seal projects usually take place somewhere closer to the fall or maybe early spring, where the overlay projects that are on the list, we try to get to those right now, while the temperatures are still good and hot and we get good bonding from the asphalt and things of that nature. They are currently, they're starting Portland Avenue this next Monday, which that project is on here, but we had also had that on last year's budget and it was approved, but May Avenue, doing that project took some time away from us because of all the rain and everything else, and we were not able to get to Portland. This project was supposed to be done before the end of the fiscal year, June 30. So they're starting that one right now. I will tell you that I have spoken with Kenny in the past and recently about Eunice Street. Sullivan's Engineering will be engineering that project. Most likely that project will be contracted out with another company. Our crews are not equipped to handle that type of project with especially the curb and guttering, but this project is also very unique in that it is flat as a pancake over there. So the drainage in this area is really going to have to be looked at closely, and that's what Kenny does, and then we'll have a crew that comes in or a company that comes in to build that roadway and hopefully resolve this issue for those folks that has been long-standing, a long, long time.
kind of timeline are we expecting?
Well, his engineering, I'm assuming, may take probably 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, a lot of that's gonna be the surveying.
Yeah.
We've got to survey not only the road and tie it in legally to the right of way. We got to find a place for the water to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have to kind of survey probably the channel to the west and the channel to the north and see what we can do and come up with some options. So to be honest, I fully expect that this would be something that we would probably start construction early next year for dirt work, drainage, all of that, and then when it warms up, they can get after the paving.
We will get this project going though and moving, and let our crews focus on some of these other projects. One of the projects that they will move to very quickly after Portland is completed is Harvey Street. So many variables on Harvey Street, as it has been for years. But we're hoping that a quick fix to that is to go in and mill everything up down there and then build that road up about 18 inches. Once our crews do that, and during that interim, we will be working with property owners down there to hopefully obtain easement, extra easement that we can actually build proper ditches. We need ditches that, you know, that have 4-foot bottoms in these things, 4 foot in width, to try to capture that water. We actually did, I guess Scott left, we actually purchased a drone last week and did a drone flyover of that entire area. The channel that is on the east side of I-35, it's blocked up, there's no doubt about it. As it turns back to the north going to the river, it narrows down almost to the point that I don't even realize how water's getting through it. And it's actually overflowed and created other channels. So much so that Scott couldn't tell what was the original channel and what wasn't. So we're gonna have to get with that property owner over there again. I am sure that there are all kinds of beaver dams. The last time that ODOT looked at that over there on that side, there were 7 beaver dams that had to be cleared out of that channel. I think that, you know, this is likely, especially on the east side, going to be a problem for quite some time. I don't know how we avoid not having these issues on his property over there. Our side, as far as west of Harvey, the channel that does come from 40th Street to Harvey, there is one beaver dam in that as well. Our crews usually are able to take care of that rapidly, very quickly. Our tin horns are flowing what they can. Once it gets to underneath I-35 bridge, it goes to a smaller tin horn, 3 into 1, and it's pushing all it can push at this point. When we do the rebuild of Harvey, we will add a couple of more bigger tin horns on the advice of ODOT when they looked at it, and that's the advice they gave us. But I think until something's done on the east side, we're going to keep fighting this problem, and hopefully all of this will get resolved once that interchange project begins and Harvey Street is rerouted and things of that nature. I'm hoping at that point that ODOT will finally realize we need to do something with this. So, but in the interim, we're going to do all we can do to try to alleviate some of those business owners' headaches and problems out there.
Are we matching up to, I guess, the future here on interchange with Harvey? Well, a little bit of Harvey that we have versus what's going to be rebuilt in the future, so that we're not really just throwing a lot of money away for roadway that we're not.
Most of ours is going to be going from the tin horns of the bridge right there, all the way north.
Okay.
Everything that ODOT has in plan right now to do with Harvey is from that, basically just south of the bridge, and then it will turn back to the west. So our part is still going to be needed, and the monies will not be wasted in our area.
Okay. I guess the other issue, or warning statement, I should say, I'm worried that, you know, that if we raise Harvey up by 18 inches. Are we gonna, and we need to be sizing our pipes properly for that, for the drainage area, as well as, our road can't be at like 100 flood year, for sure. Kenny, do you know what we're gonna design that road at?
No, I don't. I think whatever you can do to raise it up, I don't think you're gonna block anything, because everything's blocked from downstream right now.
Well, I understand that, but I don't want.
He's gonna add more culverts. He's wanting to get the roadside ditches, so it should help it get to the crossing,
Yeah.
if we can ever get it cleaned out on the east. And is it the Oklahoma Motorsports?
Yeah.
Well, it's on the
I mean,
video right there, that's
Yeah, right
already.
there.
Every time it rains, that place is isolated. I don't know why he wouldn't work with us. He's got the equipment to make it a good
If you
channel
look
down
to
through
the
there.
right side of those fields, used to be a large pond out there that,
Mhm.
that went from the pond on the north end of the pond and into the drainage on to the right side of those fields and went straight north to the river basically. Well, they filled the bulk of that pond in, and now it's a narrow channel that goes basically all the way from I-35 back to the east and then north to the river, which makes it way more susceptible to being blocked by debris or by beaver dams. Like Kevin said, we've worked with ODOT. ODOT's drainage engineer did an analysis of that area and made a recommendation for the Tin Horns, and that's what he was talking about a while ago. So I don't think there's any issue with us being able to handle the flow under Harvey.
Right.
But like you said, once it goes under, and you can see right there, kind of north of the Oklahoma, where that channel goes on the east side of 35 where it comes through, that's just a single culvert box underneath that road that it comes through.
Right.
That's already much smaller than the output we've got from the tin horns we have in place. So we can put more tin horns in, and we will, but we're still gonna have an issue with water getting through that box on that road going back to Motorsports Complex.
Is that there in the foreground, Mayor, you're talking about?
You're right over,
Left hand
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, is that Goldsby or is that?
That's
Page?
Goldsby.
Goldsby.
So all this is in Goldsby city limits on the east side of 35, so,
Would have figured that would be. We'll do a traffic.
like I said, we're hopeful. We've been working literally for years, probably 10 years, trying to work on drainage, trying to work with the property owners, trying to work with everybody, with ODOT, to get some type of resolution, to get the water flowing, to try to ensure that we're not backing water up on Harvey. And like Kevin said, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different ownerships. We've gone in before and just taken tin horns out on 40th Street up there because we were being threatened with lawsuit because we were backing water up on the landowner there, and they took the tin horns out, and it wasn't us backing water up, it was being backed up all the way from the river back through, or the east side of 35. So we've done a lot to try to remedy that, but it's gonna take a concerted effort by all interested parties, including the city of Goldsby, all the landowners, to get some type of, I don't know whether we could get a potential drainage easement through all the property to be able to, at least some entity or us as a group, to be able to go in there and keep that drainage way free and clear, because barring that, like Kevin said, there's gonna be continual issues with water backing up into that area.
I think I have a goal anyway, as far as the drainage channel on the west side of Harvey, which runs across Clark property and I can't remember those guys' last names.
Peter Simmons.
Peter Simmons. Hopefully, at some point here, we can get a drainage easement running across those two properties from 40th to Harvey, where Newcastle can actually take care of that.
Across the 40th right there on the video. heading
Yeah,
back towards-
I mean, you can see, so this right here is what I'm talking about.
Heading south.
This
That
is,
piece right there.
you know, there's a lot of blockage right there. And as you go around the curve here and there's another beaver dam, but if we can actually get in there and get a drainage easement, and we actually get in there and take care of this, then I envision at some point, Newcastle builds a concrete channel running across there, so we can stop this beaver dam problem and issues that we have here and what it causes.
Just to give you an idea where that water flowing through there comes through, everything that comes from our fire station on Highway 9 down that hill, flows into the right-of-way of Santa Fe, flows north, and then flows under Santa Fe, goes through the Bob Moore property, then comes back out and goes into this channel. Additionally, there's a channel that goes north from the east side of P&K Equipment that catches everything else along that bottom there and goes north and then flows back angling through this piece of property. So there's a significant amount of surface area that has to flow through even to get to I-35. There's a dam right there.
Right. So anyway, those are two major road projects that will be, Harvey will begin probably maybe August, late August, early September. I think we can get to that fairly quickly. Street superintendent mentioned this morning that he would begin ordering materials in now, right away, to begin the buildup of that roadway.
This is all private property, right?
All private property is landlord right there.
Of course, that's hard.
Mhm.
There's a lot that's gonna happen, but the best thing we can do is try to raise that road up right now, get some additional right of way where we can have room for drainage and utilities, and, then try to work with all the parties to get the drainage better in that whole area. So.
Another street, different street, Rockwell, it is, am I jumping ahead?
It's on the list.
I saw it on the list. Is it open now has a repair already been made?
Yes.
So traffic's able to flow now?
Right.
Okay. And then, I can't remember, where do you project that on? When does that street get, the 2-inch overlay?
Well, as quick as we get to it.
Okay.
Hopefully in this budget year, we'll be taking care of that too, all these overlay projects.
Okay.
But yeah, we.
You don't have them stacked up in numbers yet, it's just one of the ones you'll get to.
What on the numbers, what, I'm sorry.
Priority wise.
You don't have them numbered priority wise.
Number 3 is where that one.
Really?
Which, yeah, it would come after Harvey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
see,
that
it would-
Marina Road? Yeah,
Okay.
middle of August.
It would come after
Okay,
Harvey
that's pretty
Street.
high, okay, that's good. I knew y'all been looking at it for a while, and then with that damage, I didn't know
Right.
if that affected it negatively or anything like that, so.
Just a little partial, I'm assuming correctional, on your chip seal in North Portland, you go from northeast 24th, a mile north, and then you come from the service road on 34th and go a mile east. Portland to 34th is a mile and a quarter. So we're short and a quarter going north on Portland to get to 34th. Just, you got it in there as a mile, so that could possibly be just a tick longer than that.
I hope, when we start Eunice roadway, it is gonna be a pain in the butt for the residents that live down there. And hopefully they're listening, and hopefully they realize that it's gonna get done. It's gonna be a pain in the butt while it's being done, but it's gonna get there.
It's gonna be a big ticket item, and that's one of the reasons why it hasn't happened.
Yep.
We've looked to contract this out for several years, and financially, we're to the point we can do it now and do it right, because we don't want to do it and not do it right and have any issues. So I'm confident when we do get Eunice rebuilt, it will be something everybody that lives along that street can be very proud of.
Hopefully we can get the buses to go around the other way.
Well, while they're building it, they can't go through there, so maybe they get used to going some other way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tim.
All right, any questions or any comments about the road improvement program?
We're done.
Do we need to approve that, or is it just?
Yeah, we need to approve it.
Okay. Motion to approve agenda item number 9, road improvement, 21-22 street road improvement program.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of item number 9, bless you. Bless you.
Thank you. Me, then Jean. Tommy Clay?
Yes.
Jean Reed?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 10, discussion of possible action approval of cost of living adjustments for non-union city employees, accepting the city manager and the city treasurer.
This was approved basically by council as well during the budgeting process in June, but I wanted to make sure to bring this back before council so we could have a separate discussion if council wants to, but this is a 3% increase in salary for non-uniform personnel and non-union.
But you've already asked for the amount, so it's already included in the amount we looked at?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Sounds good.
Make a motion for approval of item number 10.
A second.
Motion second for approval item number 10 to 3%.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Marcy White.
Yes.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Tommy Clay,
Yes.
Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, city manager's comments.
A lot of new faces are going to be showing up at City Hall fairly quickly. We are trying to move as quick as we can to try to find somebody to remodel City Hall because we're going to need space very quickly. Something that I have been thinking about over the weekend and a little bit at the end of last week, that I may request of council at the August council meeting is to begin looking at engineering and design for a new city hall at some point. Granted, we may still not need it for another 3 to 5 years, but I think it's probably important to go ahead and get engineering and design in place. At least we'll be ready for that when that time comes. I think it will come quicker than what we all think. So
Where are we looking at putting that at?
down on our land on where the fire station is going, at 13 acres. So,
The new site?
yes, yeah. So, I mean, we will already have sewer in place, water in place, and things of that nature. Already have the land. So I think that it's probably time to go ahead and start looking at that and making future plans for it. So, that's all the comment I have.
All right, item number 12, council member comments.
I'd say kudos on all the good work done. Our park looks beautiful. I saw they were diligently mowing finally after able to get out there and get after the rains and everything like that. But our park looks great. I know our citizens would like to see everything quickly done, but I see a lot of progress. The pads built, the concrete pads out there, and the trail, everything's looking great. Trees look great. Kudos.
What's the concrete, I didn't see that, is that for the restaurants?
Look like several bench rest areas or
Oh.
bench areas and.
Trash cans, some picnic tables around the pond.
Cool.
We've had the trash cans on back order for a long time, and we've had an issue before when we put portable trash cans out in the parkway that they've disappeared.
Really?
And so, these are ones that can be anchored down
Oh, cool.
and won't disappear. So, I know there's been some issues with people wondering why there weren't trash cans out there, but like I said, we've had an issue before with placing trash cans and somebody thinking they needed to borrow them, and maybe not bring them back. So.
Yeah. Like the metal,
Or
the
float
metal
them down the
holder, are
creek.
they gonna have that metal holder type thing on it?
I don't know. What
Yes.
It got brought up again, well, two things about recycling. Came up again, same questions, people wanting to know what were the numbers, how many people participated in the last survey that we did. I did mention that it was in bills and done online, so everybody had an opportunity. But I will say, I follow City More stuff. Someone posted pictures, could have been our bins. So it's not just us. I was so excited. They go, can you believe, we're so, and I thought, okay, well, it's not just us, so, and I'm not advocating that we bring it all up again, but I did have someone specifically say how many votes were there, how many people voted and went for it. I said, well, I don't know, so if we.
I'll tell you, we do still have every single ballot
Good.
at the
I believe you.
Dina's office, and it was roughly, I believe it was between 1,000 and 1,100,
Okay.
and roughly 70% voted no.
Okay, I thought it was around 70%, and that's what I said, but I wasn't sure how many participants, so, okay. Cool.
Any other council member comments?
Oh, one more thing on that. Was that like a year ago, year and a half? It hasn't been that long, has it?
It was February of 20, I believe.
February of 20. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Michael, go.
No problem. I do realize, you know, I'm gonna pick on the builders a little bit here, or at least the ones that are laying down their sod or putting down silt fence and stuff like that. We've had, every time it rains, big rain, you know, we get a lot of silt buildup from the subdivisions that are being built, and they're not just getting cleaned out a lot of times. And I think we need to start pushing back on our developers to clean out those silts that they've created. I mean, it's all right, I mean, even the ponds that they make are gonna be silted up because of all the silt that's coming off the subdivisions that they're building, and especially when they strip all the dirt off of it. And they're gonna lose amount of storage in those ponds. So that may become an issue later on in these subdivisions. And maybe not at the moment, but down the line they will be. And I know that we all don't want to see that. And I know that a lot of our subdivisions now have curb and gutter, but some of our subdivisions still are ditched. And when I drive through a neighborhood and I see let's say a 24-inch pipe upstream, and then you go downstream and there's two 8-inch pipes for a driveway. And I know dang well that that isn't going to carry that drainage. And when someone complains about their driveway washing out, I'm going, well, you should have put in a bigger pipe, you know, to get it under your driveway. And the ditches are filled in. You know, I had the same issue in my neighborhood, and that's why my road's breaking out, I'll be honest with you. And it's all due to people filling in their ditches a lot of times. Yes, it's nice to mow a flat ditch, but it is not very good for the road, and it's not very good for your own property down the road. My soapbox, I'm sorry.
I will say one more thing. I hear from my neighbors real frequently. I know this is a new topic, it's an old topic, but my neighbors constantly are asking me about the metal containers around our well sites. And they used to just talk to me about it, now they just grit their teeth at me and look at me, but, so, just food for thought. I don't know if there's anything we can do, but we've had some metal containers up around those well sites for a long time. So I just hope we as a council can explore that and see if there's anything more different, better, prettier, nicer we can do, for our well sites.
Well, I'm hopeful in the fall that we can readdress our oil and gas leases and try to get a little bit ahead of potential oil and gas development. And I'm hopeful that there's been some ground plowed by some other communities around us since we last updated them, which will give us some things to lean on for consistency. But I do think that there's some things that we can do to tighten those up and still be within the law.
Colonel, I know I'm a little bit out of order here, but let me, on that topic, when we start to work on that, if you'll remind me, I have a brother-in-law who's down in Midland with Diamondback down there, and they are using sound walls a lot because they're drilling close in.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get some information from him. He happened to be in through last weekend, and I talked to him, and I brought that comment up, and he said he could give me some information on that.
And this will start at the planning commission more than likely, so you'll get to be involved in this as well. So
Probably so.
You'll get to
but
be.
we'll talk about it a lot, and we'll probably have a meeting just to talk about that.
Our residents will benefit from it, so.
Yeah, we need, I know oil's been down, so activity's been way off, and I wish we would have the opportunity, or maybe we had them, to take it, but to really dive in to those ordinances while it's quiet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of loud voices when things are going on,
Yeah.
so.
Good, thanks.
All right. Item number 13, item 13A, discussion of possible action on entering into an executive session as permitted under 25 OS Section 307B4, discussing confidential communication between the public body and its attorney concerning a pending investigation, claim, or action If the public body, with the advice of its attorney, determines that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the public body to process the claim or conduct a pending investigation, litigation, or proceeding in the public interest, the Ridge. Make a motion, we enter into an executive session with our city manager, assistant city manager, and city attorney present.
Second.
Motion second to enter into an executive session.
Marcy White?
Yes.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Tony Clay?
Yes.
Gene Reed?
Yes.
Carl Nell?
Yes. We'll take a 5-minute recess and then be back.